Git is a must for you to learn, and I'll tell you why. So hello everybody, Usman here, and today I'm going to talk about Git. I'm going to give you a basic overview of what Git is and answering a few questions about Git, giving a few tips, and most importantly, why Git is a must for you to learn. So you might be a beginner in programming, or you might have a little bit experience in development, and you heard this thing called Git, which seems like another programming language, but actually it's not. Let's first discuss what Git is in a nutshell. So Git is not a programming language, it's a tool, it's a version control system. Now, if that's too complicated, it's a super smart save button for your projects. So imagine like when you play a video game, you save in many areas, you save in many checkpoints so that you don't lose your progress and then you don't have to do everything from the start to the end. Of course, nowadays we have the autosave feature in games, but in programming, there is nothing like that. There is no system like checkpoints of your code or versions of your code. That is when Git was invented. So as I said, it's like a save button, but unlike the control S that we do on our files, it remembers what was changed, when was it changed, and who changed it. So when you are working with a team, you can know which line of which file was edited when by whom. It's like a superpower. And in this video, when I say the word save, I'm going to refer to the commit feature of Git. So if you hear the word commit anywhere in the Git world, it simply means saving the progress or marking the checkpoint. So let's talk about why you should learn Git. The first reason is the checkpoint system. So when you're building out a project, you are going to save in many places. You're going to put checkpoints, like when you finish your first feature and then when you finish your second feature. That way you keep track of your progress with each save, with each commit. And if you make a mistake in the production, in the latest version, you can always go back and see what was wrong, and you can even revert to that change. And there is no software that has no mistakes. You are going to make mistakes for which you will have to look at some old code, and that is when Git can help you out. The second reason is file recovery. So you're going to have many files in your project, and whenever you delete a file, it just goes away. But when you are using Git as your version control system, what happens is you delete a file, and even after a long time you want that file back, you can restore that file like from a recycle bin, but you can restore that file from Git because Git keeps track of the history of whatever was changed in your project. The third reason is teamwork. If you ever work in a team with other programmers, spoiler alert, you will have to work in team. Git can help you collaborate with others without stepping onto each other's code. So you may have multiple people working on the same code base, but if you do it the right way with Git, you won't be jumping on each other's code and there won't be many conflicts. Of course, there will be conflicts if someone changes one line and you change the same line. There will be conflict, but if you do it the right way in Git, it's going to help you a lot. Even when you have conflicts, it's very easy to resolve. But without Git, you are just going to get stuck between two files and which one to choose. The fourth reason is branches. So this is a very powerful feature of Git that many people ignore. So Git has a concept called branches where you can take your current code base and you can branch out of this and make another version, sort of like a clone or virtual of that same code base, where you can have a separate Git history and a separate edits, basically a separate version of your app as another branch. Now you can either keep that branch or you can merge it with the main branch. So there's a main branch that is your main code base, and you can branch out and you can make multiple branches. It doesn't matter how many branches you make, and you can either keep that branch or you can merge it in the main branch. So the use for this is, let's say you want to implement a very big feature that may have some bugs, or you want to change something significant in your code base. You want to switch a framework, you want to have a UI overhaul or anything big. You won't do it directly on your main code base because that is production and your end consumers might face problems with it. So that's when you create a new branch, you make the changes over there, you test it properly, and after all that is done, you merge it into the main branch. The fifth reason is industry standard. Every company that writes code uses Git. So Git is basically an essential skill nowadays. It's like knowing how to search on Google. It's basically expected from you that you know Git and you know how teamwork works in Git and all. So when applying for a job, it is very essential for you to know Git and to showcase that you have the skill of Git. Now let's talk about some misconceptions about Git. First of all, when I said Git is a tool, it's simply a command line tool. In your terminal, you can just type in commands like git commit or git add, and that is all Git is. That's nothing more than that for you as an end user. First misconception is that Git is only for professionals. Of course, professionals use Git, but that does not mean you should not use it or you have to become a professional to use it. It doesn't matter if you are a small company or you are an individual or you are a beginner. When you start using Git, you're not going to go back. When you learn Git, you will understand that it is useful for everyone, regardless of their status in professionalism. When you use Git, you will understand that it is for everyone, not only for professionals. Another misconception is that you don't use Git because you work alone. Git is not only for teams. I use Git every day and I don't have a team right now. You can track changes, you can handle versions, you can fix bugs very easily. And that way you can stay organized in your personal or professional projects as well. Thirdly, people say it's too hard. Honestly, not once you try it. The basics of Git are actually very easy to understand. There's no rocket science in it. You only need to know and understand a few commands and how the environment of things is and what state do the files go in when you run a certain command, and that's it. It's like hardly 10 commands that you need to know in order to know the basics of Git. Then eventually with time you will learn more and more and more. Once you encounter some problems, once you see conflicts, you will understand how to fix conflicts with which commands, and that's how you learn more. You start with the basics. You don't need to learn everything in the beginning. So it's not hard at all. Fourth misconception is that I should be good at coding. You don't have to be good at coding to know Git. Git is connected to coding, but it is not coding. It's basically a version control system to manage the files of your project. So if you have a simple HTML, CSS, JS web page, or you are doing data analytics in a Jupyter notebook, still you can use Git, and that's going to help you a lot to track whatever changes you made. Your coding experience or your project size or your team size does not matter when choosing Git. And to be honest, when you jump onto Git and when you learn the basics and when you apply them to your personal projects, that is when you yourself will realize the power that Git holds. And you won't need an explanation further. Now, some things to know before starting out Git. First thing is that you don't have to learn it all. You will learn it with time. But in the beginning, for the basics, you only need to learn a few commands, namely git init, git add, git status, git log, and the most important one, git commit. It's very easy. It's just a few terminal commands. You'll understand them very easily. Then one thing to know is that Git is offline. You don't need to be online to use Git. It's just a local system of managing files and versions. GitHub, on the other hand, is something else. It's basically Git, but online on the cloud. So you don't choose either Git or GitHub. You use them combined, because when you have a project in Git locally, you use GitHub to put it on the cloud and manage it on the cloud. So they work simultaneously. Same goes for GitLab and Bitbucket as well. And remember that you will mess up in the beginning. You will mess up with your projects, with your files, and that's how you will learn. Even professionals get stuck in Git and they make memes on Git. So finally, learning Git is like learning how to save your progress in a game properly. Like if GTA wouldn't have auto save, would you play GTA without saving your progress? Just an example. So we can conclude that Git is a safety net, a time machine, and a memory bank all at the same time. Finally, the resource on learning Git is available all on the internet. You can just search for on YouTube for Git tutorial or Git crash course and you will find the perfect tutorial for you, whichever works. I personally really liked the Git tutorial for dummies or Git for dummies by Nick White. I highly recommend that crash course because he gives you real talk about what Git is and very simply explains you the concepts with real world examples. And he also explained a little bit of GitHub as well. Then you can go to an advanced Git course if you wish. But honestly, Git is very easy. Don't stress yourself, just focus a little bit and you will find how the powers of Git can change your development workflow. That's it for this video. I hope you liked it. Let me know in the comments below if you want something else. And finally, thanks for watching.